Good morning. I'm Reverend Sue in service today with Judy Preble and Dalton Fitzgerald and Damien and Charlie, and Dr. Mary is giving our talk today on Just Breathe. So we are here today with opening with some music to enliven your heart and to bring you together in our service. So right now I'll just pass it right over to Dalton and Judy. Here we go.
I sometimes don't know me, and there you are to show me. You hold the child inside, the man I've longed to be, and in my darkest night you're the light so I can see. All that I am is magic, created before time began. Oh, how I love the way you love all I am. Who am I to question all the gifts I've been given, and now a part of me I didn't want to face has become the very thing that gives me strength. All that I am is magic, created before time began. Oh, how I love the way you love all I am. What a wonderful thing to realize. I find myself looking in your eyes. All that I am is magic, created before time began. Oh, how I love the way you love all I am is magic, created before time began. Oh, how I love the way you love all I am. You show me how to love all that I am.
How lovely to hear their harmony, to have them in this space together. I value their partnership and what they bring to our center. So we celebrate music here. And I want to just do a couple of quick announcements. Monday is the men's group and Sacred Sisters. We are still doing that via Zoom. So if you'd like to contact Lori at the office, she is back in the office, and you can get the email, and I can send you an invitation if you want to join Sacred Sisters. And if you're interested in the men's group and haven't connected with Roy Wolfstead, he's your connection for that. But if you need help making that happen, please contact Lori, as well as contacting Lori if you want to be included on our Wednesday social connections via Zoom. It's been very sweet to see community and have a chance to have a conversation with each other. So all that information, we can continue to enlighten you, and how that happens by just contacting our office. So right now we're going to have our reading, and then we'll invite the bell. I'll be doing a meditation prayer this morning, and then we'll have a beautiful message from Dr. Mary. So with that, I'll just invite our Damien forward for his reading today. It's very beautiful. Damien?
Thank you, Sue. Today's reading is from The Science of Becoming Oneself by Torquem Saavedarian. The way of progress is like climbing a mountain. There is much resistance, but each step takes one higher and higher toward the peak. Each step in meditation takes one deeper into wisdom and a wider experience. But at the same time, the pilgrim faces great resistance from the body, one's emotions and thoughts. As the pilgrim moves toward the mountain peak, the horizon gradually enlarges. One breathes in purer and finer air, and the noise of the lower elevations fades away. Each higher step brings one closer to the source of light. The heart opens with compassion for humanity and becomes deeper and deeper, wider and wider, until it encompasses the whole universe. The air one breathes on a higher and higher level is the plane of consciousness one enters. But one doesn't have to climb the peak of the mountain, for the mountain is in our soul.
And we breathe. We breathe as one. We come here today finding refuge, finding understanding, centering ourselves in a deep sea of calm, connected to the divine. This morning, sharing the wisdom of Thich Nhat Hanh in his beautiful practice, as this month we explore mindfulness. And the mindfulness of breathing is what is in our heart today. And Thich Nhat Hanh, in his beautiful way, has brought to us this practice that we'll share together as we each sit in the comfort of our own space. And feel yourself just softening into the moment as you breathe. Breathing in, you know that you're breathing in. Present moment. Breathing out, you know you're breathing out. Present moment. Breathing in, there's a sense of deep, slow. Breathing out, there's a sense of calm, ease. Smiling, you know that you're releasing into the present moment. Present moment, wonderful moment. These are the words we share as we breathe together in this prayer, in this time, in this deepening, in this connection. So feel it now, breathing in, out, deep, slow, calm, ease. smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment. Our heart opens to the wisdom ways of masterful teachers. And today, as we become centered in our own breathing, in our own beauty all around us, we remember who we are. And our soul is settled into love. So I release this prayer in gratitude for the way, for the wisdom that guides us through challenging times, to remember peace first. Thank you, God. And together we say, and so it is. So, Dr. Mary.
Thank you, Sue, and thank you, Judy. Breathing is life. It's a life sustaining itself with the ebb and flow of our breath, the inhalation, the exhalation. It's also a way to help us shift our energy. You've probably been told at one time or another, if you've been frustrated or angry, take a deep breath, take a deep breath, count to 10, take a deep breath. And many times, the first thing people will say to us when we're feeling any trauma or drama is, just breathe, just breathe. I found myself in, all I can say is a real funk this week. I was very, very sad. The video of George Floyd under the severe restraint by police took my breath away. Another life taken by violence and racism. Then the rioting and the looting. All the small businesses that have been devastated. So I realized my sadness. And I kept asking, what is mine to do? Well, as a minister, pray, number one. Yes, pray for George Floyd, his family, his friends, his neighborhood. Pray for all the families who have lost loved ones to violence and to racism. Pray for those in the police department to open their eyes to see that we're all in this together. We are all brothers and sisters. There is a core of oneness here that we teach. It's all been created by God. And so this week, I prayed a lot. Most of you know we use positive affirmative statements in our prayer, and it's called spiritual mind treatment. It begins with recognizing that God created it all in oneness, and that we're part of that. Then we accept our goals and desires as actually manifesting because we're approaching Spirit with positive, life-affirming words. Many of the characteristics of God: peace, power, beauty, joy. So when we express life in that positive way, then we can give thanks because we've turned it over to the One. We put it in the hands of the One, and then we move our feet. We do something positive to open up the air in our lives, to open up the space in our lives for the manifestation of our goals and desires to take place. A few months ago, the ethics committee that I'm a co-chair of for Centers for Spiritual Living was confronted by a minister who felt that there was inherent racism in our organization. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. And I took a deep breath. Our principles include oneness, love, and so much more. But then he wrote a 17-page paper about his passion about this. And I read it. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. And I took a deep breath. He was so passionate about this. He sees inherent racism in all organizations. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Another breath. And then I moved my feet with education and writing this difficult talk. One of the most highly regarded books out right now is called How to Be an Anti-Racist, written by Ibram Kendi. Professor Kendi is the founding director of the Anti-Racist Research and Policy Center at American University in Washington, D.C. Since I don't think I'm a racist, I thought, I better read this book to see if I am. And if I can I consider myself an anti-racist? So with pen in hand, I read that book, and I underlined and underlined and underlined and underlined to better understand what he was telling me. In the end, I thought, okay, I got it. I know this. Professor Kendi wrote that the basic struggle is to be fully human and to see everyone as fully human. And that every policy in every institution in every nation is either going away from that or supporting that. Either sustaining racial equity, inequity, or going the other way. We are all one. So an anti-racist idea is any idea that suggests racial groups are equals in all of their apparent differences. That there is nothing right or nothing wrong with any racial group. That's being anti-racist. Time to breathe. I believe Centers for Spiritual Living is an anti-racist organization because our first principle is oneness. You know, in looking back in the year 2000, the Human Genome Project found that all human beings, regardless of race, are more than 99.9% the same. The most important fact on this earth is our common humanity. You may not know, for the last few years, Centers for Spiritual Living has had a diversity and inclusion committee. And they've been making videos and workshops and doing a lot in that respect to help educate everyone in every community about the importance of diversity and inclusion and being anti-racist. Another committee recently formed, and the acronym is SMSE, Spiritually Motivated Social Engagement Committee. And they publish statements for the organization on major issues. This past week, SMSE released a position statement on racism, and I'd like to read it to you. And it's part of my moving my feet. I also sent it to the Record Searchlight in hopes that they might print it, so we'll see. The title of this paper is called Racism in the United States. Centers for Spiritual Living calls for it to end. We are grieving lives that ought not to have been lost. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery are the most recent in a list of countless unarmed African American and Black people who have been murdered for the color of their skin over the last 400 years in the U.S. Too many generations have suffered, and it has never been and is still not now acceptable. We denounce racism in all its forms. The starkness of unapologetic, intentional racism, the racism of silence in the face of injustice. The systemic racism inherent in our education, justice system, and income and opportunity inequity. and the racism that lies behind, that lies hidden in our individual hearts. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social consciousness in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social areas. We value a community-wide climate of safety that arises from compassion, justice, mutual respect, and kindness. Therefore, we join our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who, echoing the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, said this: "You and I should form the habit of taking definite time every day to contemplate and affirm peace with justice. For there is no peace possible without justice. But faith without works is dead. So we should not only pray, we should act, each contributing the best that we can to a common purpose, each willing to make any sacrifice necessary, for there can be no individual self-preservation without preservation for all." We call upon ourselves and the faith communities in the U.S. to take action that shows we have heard the cry of suffering and we own our responsibility for it. Whether that action is prayer, donations to organizations that promote racial justice, rigorous self-education, or active engagement. Let not this moment in history pass unattended. May the actions we take be steeped in peace and respect for the sacredness of each life, knowing that whatever we do, individually or collectively, must be divinely directed from a higher consciousness. When we apply our proven spiritual principles through rigorous practices and compassionate action, the desired results cannot fail to demonstrate. The next day, a minister posted on the minister's listserv that before sharing this powerful statement with her congregation, she softened it. She edited it so it wouldn't be so harsh. Well, the committee read that, and they were not happy. The next day, Reverend Raymont Anderson with CSL in Baltimore, Maryland, who was on the committee, created a video to explain why those words should not be changed. I'd like to play that for you now, but Facebook won't allow that. So what Damien's going to do is put the link to that, it's a 10-minute video, in the comment section so that you can check it out afterwards, and I highly encourage you to do so. He's a brilliant man. But in the overall of it, what he said is, call it what it is. He was a school teacher, and at the beginning of every school year, he would tell his students his rules for being in his classroom. Number 1, no bullying. Number 2, no racist ideas. And he's made this long list. This will not happen in my classroom. And what he observed was the students were listening very carefully. And those that might have been bullied or might have had any of those experiences kind of lifted up. They were excited that they would be safe in his classroom. He says, just calling it out made the difference. Say what it is. And it cleared the air. No one had any doubts where he was coming from. I liked his analogy on a house on fire. And if we were not allowed to say fire, like most of us try to avoid the word racism, how would the fire department know where to come? There's a bring a truck. I love the way he did that, because if you can't call it a fire, why would the fire department come with a fire hose? Call it what it is, and then take appropriate action. So you say there's a fire, the fire department comes, they get out the fire hose, they put out the fire, they take people to safety, and the fire is put out. So it's time to call racism what it is. And for this reason, in this time, I finally think we're ready for this great awakening. Another CSL minister, Reverend Muada Razuli from the San Francisco Center for Spiritual Living, posted a beautiful message on the minister's listserv yesterday. And I wish I could read it all, but we don't have enough time, so I'm going to get the high points of it. He wrote, "I too feel a sense of profound grief and anger at the continued pattern of injustice perpetrated through racism, patriarchy, and misogyny. All of these are manifestations of duality, of a separation consciousness, in which the people doing these acts do not know their inherent oneness with God. It's incumbent upon me at times like this to remember that they too are part of the body of God, and it does me no good to hate those who hate me. In fact, it's antithetical to the peace and harmony that I desire." I echo the prophetic words of Margaret Mead. "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed citizens can make a difference in the world. Indeed, that is all that ever has." So, beloved community, we are, you and I, those thoughtful and committed citizens, and we are making a difference, whether by protest or prayer. It's always the consciousness behind our intention that makes the greatest impact. If you join protests and solidarity, do so with a consciousness of love and peace, and with an intention to make the world a better place for everyone, including those with whom you have a disagreement or whose policies you're protesting. This is the beginning of lasting change, a shift or change in consciousness. Our grief can be channeled into being agents of change because consciousness is always cause. That's what we teach. Consciousness is always cause. So no matter what action we do take, do it from a place of love. Do it from the consciousness of wholeness and unity. Martin Luther King Jr. reminds us that though we may be experiencing a delay in the realization of justice, do not give up working toward it. The arc of moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. So the justice that you and I seek is the awareness of the respect for human dignity everywhere and for everyone. Now I'd like to leave you with words from page 156 in the Ernest Holmes Papers, the book Ideas of Power. "The garden that isn't planted won't grow. The seed that is not sown will not flourish. The word that is not spoken cannot act. The prayer that is not said and accepted cannot be answered." So in these times, find what is there for you to do, what is right for you to do, to spread love, to spread compassion, and to help the world recognize we are all one worldwide family. So let's close with a prayer. There is only one. How many times that has been said in this center, there is only one. And that one is infinite intelligence that created everything. And when we feel we are all one, we are brothers and sisters. When we feel separated, part of us is missing. So we strive for that feeling of oneness in our heart, seeing everyone everywhere as a child of God, but also my brother or sister. And as these times in our history are bringing us together in new ways, in powerful ways, our oneness is clear. We all want peace, harmony, prosperity, success, love. I accept it for each one of us today, that in our hearts we can feel that. We can feel that peace, harmony, and love going out into the world and to touch those who are trying to resolve these issues or are trying to understand these issues. And the idea of oneness just opens it up like the beautiful lotus flower. I'm so grateful that I personally am able to understand it in my own way and share it in my own way, as Ernest Holmes and all the teachers of this philosophy do. It's definitely a gift that keeps on giving, opening eyes and ears and hearts to the truth of who we are. For this, I am so grateful, so grateful, and I accept it for all of us. It's the truth, and so it is.
Thank you, Mary. There's so many times where I have brought my troubled heart to Mary, and when she speaks at the level she did to us today, I find my answers and I find my way. So thank you all for listening to her heart. She spoke truth, and it's what we need to clear our thinking and to open our way. So thank you again and again. Challenging times, but if we're mindful, and this month we'll be looking at all the different ways to stay mindful and to stay deeply centered in our practice, we can do this. We can do this, and our organization has our back in all that we do. So many ways to turn to the truth. And so your gifts allow us to continue to do this good work in the community here and at large. So we thank you. So think about the gifts you've given as you imagine that held in your hand right now, and bless that money gratefully as you give with an attitude of abundance. Know that as you give, you do receive, and so it is. So we move through our service now. We get to hear again some music from Judy and Dalton, or just Dalton. Thank you, Judy. It was lovely to have your piano keys in the background of our prayers. Very lovely. So we're getting closer and closer to a time where we can be together and to open our doors again to the public. So we'll keep you informed on when that is. So right now, let's enjoy closing with Dalton and his heart. Thank you.
Please stand on up. If you can hold hands with somebody next to you, that would be a good idea this morning. All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy, all love now, all love, all love. Holy, holy, all love, holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is love. Holy, holy, all God now, all God, all God. Holy, holy, all God, all God. Holy, holy, all in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is God. Holy, holy. That's why all is one now. All one, all one. Holy, holy. All one, all one. Holy, holy. All in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is one. Holy, holy, all good like you mean it now. All good, all good. Holy, holy, raise your voices now. All good, all good. Holy, holy, all in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy, I said all in my mind, in my heart, in my soul.